Bill, we saved it for you.
I had a couple of Larry drinks and four glass. Not an empty stomach, so I was feeling pretty good. Then I got the drink. I got four more. Didn't look sharp. Quite the show.
I don't know.
Cody. You remember Sean Goon?
I don't touch that.
He's been a long Right the whip, Wayne.
Good morning, everyone. Just going to ask, make sure everyone's comfortable. Find a seat. For those that I do not know, my name is Wayne. I'm here with Eric and Charlie this morning, and we welcome you here for a celebration of Larry's life. A couple things. If you need the bathroom, I think most of you probably know, but be out this door to your right. Ladies' room is the first room after the closet entrance, the second. If anybody needs a bottle of water or something like that, I know sometimes people be coughing or if you're speaking, Charlie will be more than happy to bring you a bottle of water. I'd like to just welcome again everyone here this morning. Last night, we'll start with this. Last night when the family came in, Charlie did our pin presentation, which is something that we do, the immediate family members, typically prior to the services or the visitation beginning. And one of the things that we always talk about is the fact that to be here because you're going to mourn somebody's death is really not necessary. Okay? That's just going to happen. You have a sense of loss, and you know I don't have to tell you it's a roller coaster ride. But to celebrate somebody's life and share stories and to laugh, taking those steps, to keep Larry alive through future generations is the essence of why you're here this morning. So we're going to open briefly, and then we're going to have Kathy, followed by Tom, share some words. Then we're going to have a tribute video that Eric put together for the family. And then we'll come back and we'll close out with a few other thoughts with regards to Larry. So I actually did know Larry. I grew up in an area that was much more concentrated than Macedon. But according to like my wife, and I know George and Mary and Paul and the Wits, everybody is a neighbor, even if you have a different zip code or you're a mile and a half away. And Larry lived approximately a mile and a half from me. I live on Kittering Road. And he was one of the nicest men, and I know you know that, anybody would want to spend some time with and talk with. And I'm hoping that this morning that we reflect on his journey as not only a husband. How many years was it? Okay, 58 years. The same person. That's awesome. Okay, and so hopefully some people here that are thinking about doing that or have recently engaged in that commitment will take note. And I'm sure Betty will attest to it. Now, it's not Disney World the whole time. But there is a bond that's created. And there's a sense of loss, but look at the memories. Look at the people that are here. And that's part of his journey. Look at his commitment to working. Still working at 80 years of age. And he was committed not only to, he had a couple jobs before going to work for Johnson's as a retirement job, but he worked for Fairport DPW for, 25 plus years, right? There's a sense of loyalty, and that's important. He was committed to being a fireman. So these are all things that are part of his journey, and we hope, especially for grandchildren and great-grandchildren, that you remember these things, and you share the stories. Hopefully share a lot of laughs. Some may bring tears. But the thing is to remember what a great person Larry not only was, but he will continue to be in each of you if you continue to share his story. So I'm just going to share something that I think is very brief, but captures the essence of what's important in life and how we should feel about our presence here. And then I'm going to ask that Kathy come up and share her thoughts with you. This is called Afterglow. Many of you are probably familiar with it. And in memory of Larry, I'd like to share this. I'd like the memory of me to be a happy one. I'd like to leave an afterglow of smiles when life is done. I'd like to leave an echo whispering softly down the ways of happy times and laughing times and bright and sunny days. I'd like the tears of those who grieve to dry before the sun, of happy memories that I leave when life is done. Kathy?
Heavy heart that I stand here to honor our dear friend, father, and husband. Larry and Betty have been a friend of mine most of my adult life and lived right down the road. My husband and I have been a big part for him to join the local fire department. Larry joined Massey Center in 1972. Not wasting any time, in 1979 he worked his way up to fire chief for 3 years. from 83 to 93, he was the first president of the Benevolent Association. And that's quite a record for 21 years. Even though Larry and Betty were busy with the fire department functions and marching in the parade most weekends, they also managed to go camping with other firemen. There was nothing to drive an hour after marching in the parade, arriving late into the night. It was nothing to get kicked out of a campground, and it was nothing for some people to see UFOs in the night sky. Larry and Betty continued to camp until a few years ago, but he continued to work for Johnson and haul trailers. Years ago, many of us had snowmobiles back in the day, and there were many trips taken to Oak Forge. Of course, those were the days when you rode one day and fixed the next. Larry came through on that too because he was our head mechanic. Larry loved his grandchildren and they loved him. He thought nothing of having to Virginia and Watertown to see them. I have so many great memories of as many of as all of you do. Larry, you'll be missed. Rest in peace, big man. We love you. There's one more thing. This is for you.
Good morning. Whew. Try to get through this here. All right. Where does one begin when trying to put Mackey's life into words? Larry had a work ethic that would put most young workers to shame, and he always had to have a job or task to do. Hold on a second here. All right. He was up early and in bed even earlier. He loved BV, camping, clams, playing cards, NASCAR, and the goddamn Buffalo Bills. During my childhood, my grandfather was my hero. From riding in fire trucks, going to parades, or going camping, he always made sure that his grandkids and great-grandkids had a great time. Larry loved two women in life, Grandma and the notorious Jennifer Aniston. I will miss playing jokes on you, Graham. You're always my easiest target. Now I have to switch my attention to Grandma, who isn't quite as gullible. But on a more serious note, Larry will be terribly missed by all of us. He was the rock of our family. He was the rock of our family. And it's hard to believe that we have to live life without him. I love you, Graham. And I always will. I thank you for being a wonderful grandfather, great-grandfather to all of us. You have earned your rest, and I will take charge of pestering Grandma from now on. Thank you.
So I want to thank Eric, my business partner, for putting that together. If he wasn't film director, I know he wanted to be a movie producer, so he spends a lot of time going through pictures that people provide and trying to tell the story in a video. Also want to tag on that for Kathy and Tom to come out here and share as few words as possible. It's the essence of who Larry is, and it comes from the heart, and it's evident when people speak like that. So thank you very much for doing that for Betty. And also, thank you for having children here today. I think it's fantastic. I think Larry would like it. I think to hear children talking, or even if they get upset for a minute, that's part of the family, and that's his legacy, and that's what he's left here for us to remember him by. And so why not have him be a part of the services? So thank you on that. I'd also like to just mention that over the next several days, weeks, and months that lie ahead are really the toughest times for Betty specifically. And if you have a story, something that came to you while you were here listening to Tom or Kathy, or a picture perhaps in the video, write it down, share it, text it, write an old-fashioned letter, email, do something, get it to Betty, because this is the essence of who Larry is moving through into the future. When we work with families, sometimes they ask us if we could coordinate the services for them, hence why we're here today doing this. And I know Eric does the same thing. You try to get to know the family. In this case, I would see Larry, he'd drive by our house on the way to Penfield, beat the horn, or he'd stop and say hi, or I'd see him coming in for calling hours, or I'd see him on some function at the fire department. And I tried to think about what it was that he would want to share. Man, it's a stretch, okay? But we read up, and I came across something that I thought was appropriate. This is by Nicholas Evans, and it's entitled, "If I Be the First of Us to Die." And it goes like this: "If I be the first of us to die, let grief not blacken along your sky. Be bold, yet modest in your grieving. There is a change, but not a leaving. For just as death is part of life, the dead live on forever in the living. And all the gathered riches of our journey, the moments shared, the mysteries explored, the steady layering of intimacy stored, the things that made us laugh or weep or sing, the joy of sunlight, snow, or first unfurling of the spring. The wordless language of look and touch, the knowing, each giving and each taking, these are not flowers that fade, nor trees that fall and crumble, nor are the stone, for even stone cannot the wind and rain withstand. And mighty mountain peaks in time reduced to sand. What we are, we are. What we had, we have. A co-joined, past, imperishably present. So when you walk the wood where once we walked together, and scan in vain the dappled bank beside you for my shadow, or pause where we always did upon the hill to gaze across the land, and spotting something, reach by habit for my hand, and finding none, feel sorrow start to steal upon you. Be still, close your eyes, breathe, listen for my footfall in your heart. I am not gone, but merely walk within you. The other aspect with regards to Larry that Ben made reference to, and if you were here last night, you saw a wonderful tribute. Tremendous number of firemen from both Madison Center with their trucks, South Madison with their truck, and Fairport came with their truck, and we had representation from the past firemen, chief. I know we had Lyons, Rose, umpteen. Tim said something probably like 20. I think we were probably looking at more like 40 firemen came. So that's a very important part of his life, and he obviously impacted a number of people because of the time that he was in, as Kathy made reference to, the time that he was in active with the fire department. One of the things that I like, that I'm not sure that this is 100% accurate, the fireman's prayer, most of us probably have heard it, know it, and it's always anonymous. And I had researched that some time ago to find out truly what the history of the fireman's prayer is. And I'd like to share that with you because I thought it was interesting. Again, I'm not 100% confident it's 100% accurate, but this is what I found. This is in reference to the gentleman who is receiving credit for writing the fireman's prayer. The only way he could find to ease the pain of such a tragedy was to sit down and put his thoughts on paper. The phrase, and we'll read the fireman's prayer, and this is in there, quote unquote, enable me to be alert and hear the weakest shout. Sends a chill up a firefighter's spine as you imagine what he experienced on that fateful night. This particular case is a particularly difficult evening in which young children perished in a fire. The gentleman who wrote the fireman's prayer was A.W. quote-unquote Smokey Lynn. His granddaughter, Penny McLaughlin, said that back then there were no grief counselors to help the firefighters. Penny believes this was an actual prayer for him to God for the sake of his own family, the other firemen, and the families of the children. Smokey joined the Wichita, Kansas Fire Department in 1947. After returning from World War II, he retired in 1975 and became president of the local chapter of the Good Sam Camping Club. He passed away on March 31st, 2004 of complications following surgery. The Fireman's Prayer was originally published in a book called, quote unquote, A Celebration of Poets. And that was back in 1958. The Fireman's Prayer goes like this. When I am called to duty, God, whenever flames may rage, give me the strength to save some life, whatever be its age. Help me to embrace a little child before it's too late, or some older person from the horror of that fate. Enable me to be alert and hear the weakest shout, and quickly and efficiently put the fire out. I want to fill my calling and give the best in me to guard my neighbor and protect his property. And if according to your will I have to lose my life, please bless with your protecting hand my children and my wife. I know for anybody who's a police officer, a fireman, a medic, I know the medical examiners, the coroners, and I will put us in there as funeral directors responding. It's a lot to carry with you. And you don't come home and start discussing it with your family or your wife. Sometimes you come home to a birthday dinner and you have to switch gears real quickly. So again, for me, I give thanks for people like Larry. They give so much of themselves. And in his case, volunteering. Something that hopefully his grandchildren and great-grandchildren will embody, find something that they're passionate in life about, and give back to their communities by doing the same as their grandfather. Finally, I'd like to just say that the video that you saw, if there are folks that were not able to be here for the service, which we know is definitely the case, that video has been posted to the obituary on our website by Eric. He did that just a few moments ago. And if you would join me, I'd just like to close out in prayer. You're welcome to join me in doing that. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, and thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power, and glory, now and forever. Amen. Eternal rest grant unto Larry, O Lord, and let perpetual light shine upon him. May his soul and all the souls of the faithfully departed through the mercy of God rest in peace. Amen. This draws to close our service here at the funeral home, celebration of Larry's life. I believe you're going to transition from here over to the fire hall. And again, we encourage everyone to think of a story to share with Betty and her family, especially today over the fire.